Hey guys, what's up? This video is called Working on Your Own Schedule. Now, we already talked about level one of financial independence, that's just living on your own away from your parents. Now, most adults, this is as far as they get in life because level two is time abundance. This is working on your own schedule. Now, most graduates are so desperate to get work. This isn't even like it's not even close to anything they can imagine. It's just unimaginable to have time abundance or time freedom. And working adults don't have time for themselves, their life, or their loved ones. There's so much stress. People are overworked, and it's terrible. Now, time freedom is when you may put in 40 hours a week, but you can work from when you want and from wherever you want. That's why we call it freelancing. And you might also not work 40 hours a week. And by the way, when you hear of people working 40 hours a week, that's an underestimate because you might be in your office from 9 to 5, but you still got to wake up at 6 a.m., get ready, drive to work, and then drive back. And you end up spending 10 hours a day on this job. And that's what's so amazing about time freedom is you actually can enjoy life and not be locked into this slave-like routine. Now, Upwork.com is the biggest freelance marketplace with thousands of jobs in illustration, writing, coding, marketing, Photoshop, video editing, and a lot more. Now, you do have to technically be 18 for Upwork. But if you're not 18 when you're watching this, do not worry. First of all, you're going to be 18 sooner than you think. Seriously, I know even if you're 10 years old, you're thinking, I'm never going to be 18. It will happen very fast, guys. But money skill, marketing yourself. You start learning this when you're 10 years old. Marketing skills are the difference between success and failure. Marketing or sales just means effective communication and persuasion. It's not being a used car sleazy salesman. It's just being able to talk in an effective way. And the sooner you learn this, the better. Now, everybody sells and markets. Your resume is a sales pitch. Even engineers sell themselves. You can say, oh, engineering, it's just a science job. They still have to sell themselves to an employer. Lawyers and doctors, being a doctor is an incredibly difficult job, but they still have to market themselves. And, the funny thing is, what you've just learned about the college admission process is a soul-sucking exercise, I think. And what you're being taught to do is to sell yourself to a college. And now it's able now that you've learned to forget about that, you can learn to sell in a much more powerful and effective way. I don't need to sell myself to some stupid college. Let me learn how to sell in a way that's actually going to make me money. So clients are just people who pay you for your services. So instead of a 40-hour work week going to work every day like your parents might do, imagine that you just have 5 digital marketing clients paying you $500 or $1,000 a month to manage their ads. Or you have 5 illustration or writing clients paying you $25 an hour. The point is, clients are just people. They're just people that you talk to. And this is another thing that schools don't teach. Now, you read a lot of books, but you don't learn how to communicate. When people graduate, they don't know how to persuade people to work with them. So their only option is a job. And even in that case, you've seen graduates fail to effectively communicate with the people who are hiring. Now, communicating to people effectively equals money and freedom. And Karen, one of the reasons for her success, and she's able to get new clients all the time, is because she took training in leadership and communication in high school, and it made her confident. She did public speaking, she did presentations, she just got very comfortable, presenting herself to other people. Now, this can be learned no matter how awkward you think that you are. And believe it or not, guys, I know I may seem very outgoing. I can be shy, I can be introverted as well. There's aspects of my personality that are like that. But over the years, I have learned how to be confident and how to communicate directly with people. It's a skill, just like learning to play the piano or learning tennis or learning to write or do math. It's something you can learn. Now, Danny Marguiles I've mentioned him before. He is another online educator. He has this article in Business Insider called How I Broke into Freelance Copywriting Online and Started Earning Over $100,000 a Year. He's a 6-figure freelancer. And he teaches people how to be successful freelancers. Like, there's actually a course on this. and it changes people's lives. Now, Danny has a full in-depth mentorship program, and he has a blog with more good free info than you're going to find anywhere else. I have the link below. It's called Freelance to Win is the name of his blog. And he has I believe his mentorship program is called Six Figure Freelancer. Now, it has step-by-step guidance on how to get proposals accepted and how to charge more money. Now, Danny's course is specifically tailored for Upwork, but even if you're not 18 years old, you can use what he teaches to get clients. It's about how you present yourself and how you think. And the sooner you get this kind of training, the better. I'm telling you guys, you can go in your hometown right now. You can go to small businesses and people in your community, and you can turn them into clients because they all need services. They all need copywriting and marketing services. Now, in my course, I have people approach local businesses. And I've had students get freelance clients like Dustin here, $950 a month, $500 a month, whatever the price you come up with is. It's doable because you have skills that people need. Now, many of my students have gotten clients from the freelancing section of my course. I do cover it. Danny's is more in depth. The entire course is about getting clients, rates. It goes into a lot of detail. I'm going to tell you more about it in a second. But whether you learn from him, me, or someone else, you should do it. You start training yourself in effective communication and learning more about freelancing. Now, this is what Karen did. This is from Danny's course, Lesson 1, Unlimited ROI, How to Leverage One-Off Jobs into Clients for Life. She got her client off Upwork once, and they liked her so much, she's now paid $40 an hour ongoing. Now, this is really great because freelancing, the upside of freelancing is you have freedom. The downside is it's not steady work. You might have a lot of clients one month and less clients the next month. But what nobody really thinks about is that it's not a matter of, I'm going to do some digital marketing for this random person, some copywriting here. If you build a relationship with your clients and deliver good results, then they'll work with you again. And that's what happened with Karen. She did a few jobs for this one client. Now she's basically full-time or she works 20 hours a week and makes this great salary. Lesson 2, negotiating with confidence and power. Now, corporations spend millions of dollars every year training their people on negotiation. And I know because I work for this company, Karis Seminars. It's the most popular, effective negotiating training on the planet. If you just to even know about Karis, you can sign up for this if you're over 18. You can take their effective negotiating seminar, and you will learn the same things that some of the biggest companies in the world have learned about negotiation. Their clients include Walmart, Sony, Google, Amazon, Netflix, CSX, Unilever, the U.S. Army, IBM, Gillette, Olympus, Ford, Coke, BMW, any major company that is successful, they have trained. Now, Danny's course is not related to Karis, but this is a quote from Dr. Karis. It's in business as in life, you don't get what you deserve, you get what you negotiate. And this is like a life-changing outlook because so many of us in school, we're trained and we're brainwashed to believe that somehow if we just get good grades, if we just get a degree, we just deserve success. And then you get the hard reality that that's not how life works. You have to negotiate. You have to, as I said in the other videos, you have to, represent your value, provide value. You have to inspire other people to give you the value that you deserve. And again, just thinking this way further separates you from the average graduate who comes out of school like a newborn baby, absolutely clueless. They've never thought about money or value or communication or any of these things. They've just been thinking about school and grades. Lesson 3, skyrocketing your rates without fear of rejection. So this is even more specific training. And this is a really great thing because this is where a lot of people struggle, not just in freelancing, but in their entire lives working. So many people come out of college and they don't have any idea how to negotiate or what they're worth. So they'll take they have to take these crappy jobs like we talked about, customer service, sales, retail. They're getting paid crap money. They don't know how to go into a higher paying job. They don't know how to negotiate a raise. The great thing about having in-demand skills and learning these skills of negotiation like Karen and Nick and my other students is that you actually get to, pick a rate, charge a rate that is worth what you're providing for people. And it's one of the most empowering things you can do because When you're, like Karen making $40 an hour, I mean, she has a skill set that is so powerful and earns so much money. And that also affects the way you think of yourself. But it is, again, something you need to learn, because most of us inherently, we don't know how to charge more money. We don't feel confident about that. So he gets into that. He even has this behind the scenes call. He talks with, some other people so they can provide you examples. This is all mentorship. You can learn from other people who've done it. How do they charge more money for what they do? So, realistic, inspiring goals. I'm just going to repeat this from the other unit is get in-demand skills, communicate and negotiate to get clients, use your communication skills. You can make $50,000 a year working remotely and on your own schedule. This is totally a realistic goal, guys. You're not saying I'm going to be the next Mark Zuckerberg and I'm going to invent Facebook and make $1 billion. Those are not realistic goals. Making 50 grand a year, working remotely with in-demand skills on your own schedule, just like what Karen does, absolutely realistic. And that's exciting. When you know something's actually possible, it's much more inspiring than if you're chasing after some delusion of being a billionaire or something like that. And you guys, you can do it. So just to review, this is the pyramid, the skip college for success strategy. Use that fundamental job, the waiting tables job, the Uber, to fundamentally support yourself. Even if you're working in an office, that's cool. And then, invest in the in-demand skills, whether it's digital marketing, web development, coding, things like that. And then as you get better and better at that, you can, start to build your own online business. In fact, that's what we're going to talk about next. I'm going to talk to you about your own online business or website. And there are different business models, and I'm going to show you how to actually make money with your passion, knowledge, and experience. I'm going to provide examples and how to build an income-generating website. Now, you might have heard about this, and you might have seen ads on YouTube with these pricks with Lamborghinis and like big houses. And I don't do that. That's not my image, because I think that just creates delusion in people. I think it's not a realistic way to approach a business. I'm going to show you how I've actually earned money starting from knowing nothing. And I'm going to educate you on a lot of things. Again, these are things that your parents and teachers know nothing about. Nothing. So, so that's the end of this video. And I'll see you in the next one.